Anytime you think about rhetoric, I want you to think about the word persuasion, because that's what rhetoric is. Rhetoric is persuasion. That's what it means. So here are the rhetorical appeals, but I just want this to be in your mind. When you think about rhetoric, think about persuasion. I was just thinking that, like, should I spell this out right now? Because that's a spelling word, almost. It's a variation of it. But yeah, all right, so when you think about rhetoric, think about persuasion. Usually when you hear the word rhetoric, you hear it in the form of rhetorical, like a rhetorical question. And a rhetorical question is a question that's not meant to be answered, but is meant to persuade or convince the person you're asking to rethink whatever thought they're thinking. My favorite example of this is when I see usually a teenager say something crazy to an adult, and the adult says something like, "What do you think, I'm stupid?" That question is not meant to be answered. It's just meant to make the teenager rethink thinking that the adult is stupid. You see, it's a rhetorical question. It's meant to persuade. So we have our rhetorical appeals. Traditionally, there are three ways that we persuade people to do, think, or feel what we want them to do, think, or feel. We have logos, pathos, and ethos. There are arguably some other ways to do it, such as like subliminal persuasion, like hypnotism type stuff, or neuro-linguistic programming, which I do practice, and you should too. You should learn about it and learn how to use it. But we're going to stick with these three right here: logos, pathos, and ethos. So when you use the rhetorical appeals, especially if you're going to be in advertising or anything like that, a goal is to get the trifecta of rhetoric here. So you want to use logos, pathos, and ethos in your argument, or in your persuasion, or in your advertisement, whatever it is that you're trying to convince people with. And that's what we're practicing in this paper. In this paper, your body paragraphs will be dedicated to one of each of the rhetorical appeals. So you have a logos paragraph, a pathos paragraph, and an ethos paragraph. Let's talk about what logos is. Anytime you think about logos, you can think about logic. It's a easy switch of into an English word from the Greek or Latin, whatever it is. So logos, think about logic. Anytime you're using logic, you're in logos. Anytime we're using numbers, statistics, reasoning, but logical reasoning. And this logical reasoning isn't just giving reasons for something. It's logical reasoning such as one is, or A is greater than B, and B is greater than C, therefore A is greater than C. It's that kind of logical reasoning where your premises boil down to a conclusion. And it has to boil down to that conclusion. Now you can make statements like that and it'll fall under logos. So we have logic, numbers, statistics, logical reasoning, and we have hard facts. Hard facts here are going to be things that are just accepted by everybody. 2 + 2 is 4. The sun rises in the east and falls in the west. The sky is blue. Now people will try to argue that the sky is not blue. And some people will try to argue that 2 + 2 is not 4, but these are hard facts that are accepted widely by basically the whole world. So anytime you use these things, you're in logos. Think about if people had 3 different like nodes on their brains, and each one was dedicated to logos, pathos, and ethos. Most people are going to be more susceptible to one of these types of persuasion. So if someone is more susceptible to the logos, the logical appeal, then once you start saying numbers, once you start talking about statistics, once you start talking about hard facts and you do logical reasoning, that node in their brain, they're gonna start paying attention because that's what's gonna get them. Let's go down to pathos. Pathos is the emotional appeal. So anytime we talk about emotions, we're in pathos, feelings, love, hate, and everything in between. So all those feelings, anytime you see a commercial and they have puppies, babies, kittens, anything to make you go, "Aw," we're in pathos because they're making you emote. They're trying to get some emotion out of you. What else goes in here? Emotions, feelings, love, hate, babies, puppy, kittens, you know, happy, sad, everything in between, all those emotions and feelings. One of the best advertisements for pathos is that commercial with the puppies and the kittens, and they want you to donate. I forgot the name of it, but they play the sad music, and if you don't turn the channel really quickly, like, you're going to get sucked in, because they make it so that these puppies and kittens look like they're crying with the sad music in the background, and they're outside in the cold, shivering and stuff. They really work that pathos appeal, and they get a lot of donations out of it. But understand, like in the video, it was noted that rhetoric is on purpose. So just think about how they came about getting that, getting people to emote because of that, or getting people attached to their commercial because of that. I mean, they found animals who were being tortured or whatever. For example, there was this one dog who was chained up, all skinny, outside in the snow, cold, ice, and he's just shivering. But they didn't go and rescue the dog right away. You have to know that on purpose, they said, wait, don't rescue that dog. Call the camera crew. And they had to wait for the camera crew to get out there while this dog is sitting there shivering, looking all pathetic. And they had to film it for the commercial. It's a tactic. It's meant to persuade you to donate to their cause. So just keep these things in mind when you're thinking about using them, or when you think about them being used on you. Because one of the only ways to thwart these is to know what's going on. So ethos, a good way to remember what ethos is to remember that it is the ethical appeal. So it deals with ethics. Morality, start talking about morals, start talking about ethos. It deals with right and wrong and everything in between. It deals with good and bad and everything in between. If you look this up in a textbook, the first thing that they're likely to talk about is credibility. And they're usually talking about the credibility of the author. And I mean, that does mean something. And it usually means something because one of the other characteristics of ethos is character. Also, characteristics. In this way, if you're trying to convince someone of that something is right or correct, and they don't believe you, maybe because you don't have the credibility of a PhD or a researcher, you can use someone else's character to help persuade them of the fact. So you can use Dr. Maggie Long's credibility as a researcher in the field to say that her argument says this, and therefore, if you know she's saying it, you know it's got to be right. And this kind of persuasion is it plays out in, especially in like social media with celebrities, because a lot of celebrities are just not, they're not experts in like scientific fields, but they say things and people follow them because they're persuaded by their character. Their credibility in the field doesn't mean anything, but their character, they follow their character, and they're persuaded because of the character. Characteristics, if it's not a person, it might be a thing, and you might just go to describe that thing and its parts or its functions, and by doing that, you can persuade people that this thing is the right object to go here. Since nobody's allowed to write about marijuana, we'll use that as an example. For character, when arguments were first being made about legalizing marijuana, people would use President Bill Clinton as an example. They would use his character because he said that he smoked marijuana. He said he smoked, but he didn't inhale. He did that little thing. And then for characteristics, people would say something like, marijuana as a plant is not a chemical-based thing. I read so many of those papers. That's why you're not allowed to read them, because I'm bored about them. So characteristics, and let's see, is there another thing that goes in ethos? Fixed morality, right, wrong, good, bad, credibility, characteristics, and I think that could be it. Let me make sure. Yep, that's it. That's it. All right, so in your rough draft, you're going to dedicate a body paragraph to each of these rhetorical appeals. They can be in any order. You can go introduction, logos paragraph, pathos paragraph, ethos paragraph. You go introduction, pathos paragraph, logos paragraph, ethos paragraph. It's up to you how you order your body paragraphs. But each body paragraph must be dedicated to that rhetorical appeal. Don't mix a whole bunch of emotion and feeling in with your logical, statistical, hard facts paragraph. Just concentrate on putting that rhetorical appeals information in that paragraph. The way that you make sure that your body paragraphs are a particular rhetorical appeal is by having your topic sentence represent that rhetorical appeal. Now, you are not allowed to write logos, pathos, and ethos in your paper. Don't do it. you are to exemplify using the rhetorical appeal. Don't mention rhetorical appeals. Just exemplify the practice of using them. For example, if your topic sentence says something like the statistics for ABC company, the statistics for ABC company company's ratings on evening watchers has gone through the roof in the last 2 years. Now, talk about statistics, ratings, which is also a statistic, and the last 2 years, more numbers. Now, the rest of that body paragraph should tell about some statistics, should tell about ratings, and it should tell, what happened in the last 2 years. But whatever that topic sentence is, it colors the rest of that body paragraph, that rhetorical appeal. So if you start your topic sentence with talking about love or hate or emotions, happy, sad, whatever, or somebody's feelings about something, then the rest of that body paragraph is going to be colored that rhetorical appeal. It works kind of like, for example, if I had blue eyes and I'm wearing this blue shirt, my eyes would be a whole lot more noticeable. Like the eye color would kind of pop because I'm wearing this blue shirt. The blue shirt is kind of like the topic sentence. The eyes are kind of like the details within your body paragraph. They come out because of the topic sentence, because of how you colored that paragraph. So make sure your topic sentence is definitely that rhetorical appeal.